Hello everyone, my name is Didi Issa. I have a YouTube channel that I wanted to introduce you to. One of my challenges this year is to read 24 books in 12 months, which means that I have to finish a book every 2 weeks. Normally in a year, I finish about 10 to 15 books, and they're not really programmed in any certain way. But now I kind of want to challenge myself a little bit because I was on Facebook and I saw Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook, who challenged himself last year and a group of other individuals to read 24 books in 12 months last year. So I wanted to take that as an individual challenge upon myself and do that. And this is my first book review, or rather the video before I do the first book review. The topic I wanted to speak on before doing the book review itself is the topic of pain. Why? Because the book is geared on the topic of pain itself. But I wanted to give a little history on pain and my intake on pain. To begin with, the idea of pain, whether it be physical or emotional pain, has been something that's been oddly ignored. It's been ignored even by the medical community for a very long time. People were being operated on without any administration of anesthesia. Okay? It wasn't until in the 1840s when a man by the name of, I believe, Crawford Long, he used ether to create anesthesia, but his work was not published until the year 1849. And then Dr. William T.J. Morton in 1846 did the first demonstration of anesthesia he did the first demonstration of anesthesia, at the General Hospital, at the Massachusetts General Hospital in 42. Now, moving along into the 20th century, the middle of the 20th century, people were still not really, pain was still very ignored. Okay? The father, the man that's known today as the father of the founding father of pain relief, so to speak, that's what they call him. His name is John J. Bonica. Now, Bonica is an Italian immigrant. He came to the States from Italy, and he went to medical school, graduated in 1942. And in order to pay for his medical bill for his school, he wrestled. He did a lot of very major wrestling. He even wrestled at Madison Square Garden. So after he's doing that, he's been through a lot of pain. He's going through a lot of pain, and he actually gave somebody a CPR who was attacked by a lion. Like a lion tamer was attacked by a lion. He gave the guy a CPR. So all that time, he was really concerned about pain. He was really concerned about why there's not a lot of attention on pain. So he started reading about it. He started to learn about it. And he read 14,000 pages. Okay, 14,000 pages. That's a lot of pages, okay? Out of those 14,000 pages, he found 17 and a half pages that contain the word pain. Something that concerns the patient The patients, more than anything else in this entire ward, had only a small fraction of attention in the medical ward. And his wife nearly died at giving birth to their daughter. So he devoted himself to pain, and he eventually ended up creating the epidural anesthesia for women, for to do like nerve injections where women do not have to feel pain while giving birth. Okay, this is the father of pain relief. This guy was devoted. He wrote so many articles and books, and the next thing you know, doctors everywhere started paying attention to pain, and pain relief was paid more attention to. Women did not have to give natural birth. They can be seducted. They can use epidural for giving childbirth. So while the physical part of pain is solved halfway by the medical community, and I say halfway because chronic pain is still something that is not still resolved. There are people who have mysterious pains, limb pains that cannot be resolved through medical administration. So while that has been solved halfway, the pain that is now in today's world is emotional pain. Okay? Emotional pain is one of those pains that we ignore completely today in our world. And as a result, we have a lot of people who feel lonely, a lot of people who feel jaded, who feel like they do not belong. And the problem with that is it creates isolation. And as an isolation, humans are not meant to be in isolation. We're not meant to be all by ourselves and in pain. Naturally, we're supposed to feel good. When you're not feeling good, something is wrong. So in this book, when I read it, one of the most interesting things that I found was that physical pain and emotional pain are not that different. They're actually almost one and the same. In a study conducted that Dr. Lickerman has referred to in the book, in a study that was conducted by subjects that were feeling emotional pain versus subjects that were feeling physical pain, when the brain was monitored, the same cells, the same brain cells that are activated when you sprain an ankle are the same brain cells that are activated when somebody calls your name and you're offended, or when somebody you really want, they reject you. All these things, when you're feeling emotional pain, is not really that different from physical pain. In fact, subjects that were feeling the emotional pain were administered Tylenol, and they actually reported feeling better. So Tylenol can cure emotional pain to a certain degree. Now that's an interesting find. So my goal is to talk about pain a lot more, and pain, specifically emotional pain. Not to ignore the physical part of it, but the reason why emotional pain is so important to talk about is because it needs the same attention as physical pain. If you break a leg right now, let's say, for God's sake, let's say you sprain an ankle. If it's really, really bad, there is an emergency room to go to. You can go to the emergency room, they'll give you pain relief, or you can there is a medicine for that. But what happens to the person who is hurt emotionally because somebody they love said something hurtful to them, or somebody they believe in told them that they'll never amount to much? What happens when somebody is bullied in school? What happens when somebody is isolated, when they're told that they do not belong? All these things are painful. They're emotionally painful. And they need to go to an emergency room. But what happens a lot is we do not go to the emergency room with these sorts of pains. What we do is we brush it off. Or we tell the boy that's crying about being bullied to man up. Or we tell the lady that's crying about her heartbreaking to get over it. There's no emergency room to go to for emotional pain. And I wanted to talk about that because there may not be an emergency room, but there are methods, there are ways to cure it, to pay attention to it, so that next time when you're the one feeling that, you recognize it for what it is and you take care of it right away. Because what happens when we do not take care of emotional pain is it piles up and it becomes an infection that affects the human community altogether. For example, a child who's bullied in school can come back with a gun to shoot everybody, and it has happened numerous times. You may not think that you're significant, but you're very, very important to the entire universe, because the pain that you're feeling is affecting all of us. So let's take care of each other and watch out for my next video on the actual book review. Okay? And I wanted to tell you a little story. When I was in school, in my literature class, my teacher, my professor of literature used to do something rather odd where he'll use two words together. He'll say, wonderful, wonderful, Lord, spectacular, spectacular. And my favorite thing that he said to me whenever I'm leaving class was, have a spectacular, spectacular day. So wherever you may be watching this video, whatever year it may be in which you're watching this video, I hope that you have a spectacular day, night, or evening. Again, my name is Didi Esther. Stay tuned for the next video coming out. Thank you.